He played 546 National Hockey League games, 374 of them for the Vancouver Canucks, and he still visits our fair city. It's our pleasure to welcome to the Go-Goat Studio, Go-Goat Sports Studio in Sekeres Price, Mr. Mason Raymond. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I mentioned you come here still periodically with your wife, Megan, so you're still in touch with the city. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're out here easily every kind of 4 to 6 weeks. Lo and behold, I guess it's more to get away. We love this city. We started our family here. We were 6 years here. We had our first child here, our son Max. And anyway, we love it here. It's a big part of coming back because we have so many fond memories. But in the 2011 Cup run, when I broke my back, I still come out and see a guy for treatment here that I speak very highly of. Been on Honor Bash at Fit to Train. And my wife has been through some health stuff too. So we come out and get treatment out of it, get a dinner out of it, and enjoy the city. So
that's great that you have that connection. I mean, like for
short flight from Calgary,
for a city that meant as much as this one did to your career, and you went elsewhere as well. But you know, that's just nice that it's just sort of a maintained link, if you will.
For sure. I mean, I honestly say it. It's our fondest memories in my hockey career were here. I mean, again, we had our first home, we had our first child. So many firsts here for us, and we had successful years. So again, fond memories. As a matter of fact, my wife wanted to move back here post-career.
Oh, yeah.
So it was definitely in the consideration. I am back in Calgary now, and that's where home is for us. But
you're both prairie folk, so you're back where you belong, right?
I think so.
Yes.
But again, we sure enjoy our trips out here, and what an amazing city.
Well, I'm Team Megan. If they're going to move here, we were going to get into this, but you brought it up. Does the back still give you trouble?
You know, no, it really doesn't. It's something that I continue to stay on. I like to be active, still continue to work out, get treatment. You know, I look at treatment as an investment in your life and your body for long term. And coaching my kid, he's 9 now, so I want to be able to keep up with him. But overall, you know what? No, things are really good there. You know, I look back on that and, you know, at the time it was scary. You need to know what was going to happen or whatever. But, you know, I can honestly say I'm probably a better person from it today, from what I've been through, the struggles, the people I've met, all those types of things make you a better person in the long run.
We have to say, you look terrible. For those that have...
We'll post some photos.
For those that can't see, he looks like he's 28, and you're probably, 20 pounds below playing weight? Is that about right?
Yeah, it's not 20. I know it maybe looks like that, but I'm probably 8 pounds less than playing weight.
Yeah.
I'm one of few, probably going to get punched for saying this, but I go the other way. You know, a lot of guys end up putting some weight on, but no, unfortunately, again, I'm still super active and continue to enjoy.
Are you opening cattle gates? Like, are you actually having to be laborious in work?
I'm all over. The versatile player in the hockey. You try to be versatile anywhere. I guess you practice what you preach and breed a good culture. But it's I feel good. Feel good shape. I still feel there's times I can play in alumni hockey and these events that we do with charities. I mean, you miss the game from that regard, and you still have that jam and wanting to still
We
go.
always tease Cliff Ronning out here. He's legendary on the alumni games because he takes it so seriously. Who's that on the Calgary side of things? We know Brenden Morrison is out there playing some alumni games there. Who's serious in the group?
I don't know if there's anybody as serious as Cliffy gets going, but maybe Jim Poplinski.
Yeah, really?
He gets going pretty
boy.
good out there,
Yeah.
but it's fun. It's fun how the game starts a little slower. And, you know, guys always say, what do you miss the most about the game? And, you know, for me, it's you miss the guys. You miss being around the locker room and just having that camaraderie. And obviously with COVID, we haven't had that, but we've had a few skates in Calgary. It's a great group there. And it's fun. Like I said, it starts a little slow as it starts getting towards the end. You sure see the pace pick up and what guys got. So nothing but good times there too.
From Cochrane, Alberta, did I read this correctly? You had the quintessential backyard rink. Is that where you first were introduced to the game?
Totally. We had some dugouts and would skate on those, but no, Dad would go out and would flood the rink. You know, there was no tarp down or anything like that. He would just start out there with the hose and start packing the snow. And
this is old school style. This is shoveling it out and then flooding it, and it's not easy, as I recall.
There was a lot of hours put into it, and fond memories from, you know, getting home, throwing a quick snack in your stomach and literally going off the deck, and it was right there for you. So that's where it started. There's no question about it, and I still believe to this day that is some of the best places for kids to get their tricks. And my dad would always still say to me, you know, go on the ice in real games and play shinny. You know, that's where you felt the most confident, you had the most fun.
Did you ever get one of those freak rainstorms in the prairies where the prairies freeze over and you can sort of skate for miles?
The good old Chinook that comes in into Alberta. But they're there. They seem to be here more now than they were back then. But it's hard to get we just had a cold snap in Calgary and everybody's talking about flooding their rinks. And, here we are in December where we'd be skating in November years and years ago. But definitely. No, it's that's a nice thing back home is you can definitely get out in the outdoor rink and that's where, the dreams are made.
Yeah.
So you start making your way up the ranks and you chose to go the junior A route in the AJHL. I read, did major, junior not show a lot of interest early on? Were you a bit of a late bloomer? Take me through that.
Yeah, to say the least. Believe it or not, a lot of people wouldn't know this, but there was a point in my career when I came out of midget hockey where I was starting to think about anything post hockey. That was the end of my hockey career at that point. I was a super late bloomer, a small guy. I was okay on my teams, but didn't really excel until I had the opportunity to go junior A in Camrose, and it really blossomed from there. But that's where it took off for me. But at one point there was I was thinking after high school, what's next? It's not going to be hockey, and am I ever glad it did turn out the way it did? And things have gone well, but I was at one point where it was at.
I can't imagine you being a late bloomer with that stride of yours.
Exactly.
You generally the skaters, go to the top of the list. I coach minor hockey. I mean, the skaters, we just love the skaters. Did the skating not click until late?
It just, again, I didn't mature. I didn't go through puberty to such a late age. I was so much smaller than everyone else. I mean, I'm coaching my son, and the difference between a year or two, probably what you see too, is just the difference in strength is huge, right? And it can make a big difference in these kids. So for me, I mean, again, when I say late, I was, 15, 16 before things started to change for me and was able to catch up and, start to skate better. And so that was the route. And it's funny. I mean, major junior didn't really pose any kind of option for me at all until I was in my junior career in the AJHL. And I had some offers by that point, but I was focused on going to university in the States.
Well, tell me about the 2005 playoff run with Camrose. I know you didn't quite get it done in the final, but there's a legend of you coming out of a hospital room in a hospital bed to lead the Royal Bank Cup in scoring. What was the story there?
Yeah. God, you're picking my brain. I got to think which one it was.
Which visit?
Yeah.
You missed some games because of apparently dehydration.
Yeah,
Were you in the
that
hospital
was a little prior. So I think I lost 11 pounds. Again, here we started talking about losing weight again. But I had a pretty bad virus prior to that and missed some games, but came back out of that. And you're young. You're like a rubber band. You rebound like nothing. And we didn't have the ending we wanted, the World Bank Cup. We lost in the finals to the host team. But I go back, junior hockey was, some of my fondest memories as far as, a stepping stone in my career. Again, another pivotal point in my career with the coach, Boris Rybalka, who is still with that organization. I still talk to at this day. Again, first time out of the house, learning to deal with billets and just, things that you didn't get when you lived at home. And I remember being pretty sick there, getting out of that, and the World Bank Cup was a good one for me. I think it put me on the map a bit with, starting to have some scouts be there and such like that. But great tournament, and again, fond memories of junior hockey.
What was the interest in you for NCAA hockey at that point? As you say, put you on the map. How many schools are beating a path to your door at that point?
When I first, came out of midget hockey, I committed to go to Camrose and thought, let's try it out. Here we go. Well, right away, I had quite a few schools interested. I remember flying up to Alaska right away, Western Michigan, Denver, and then I ended up going to Minnesota Duluth. But, I did have quite a few schools knocking on the door, and I did commit my first year there down to Minnesota Duluth. And so glad I did. I think that's I'm biased towards that route. Now being retired out of hockey, I get a lot of questions on what people do. I mean, I go back, you play 1 year, 10 years, 20 years, having that education and going to play university hockey and, kill two birds with one stone, right? You're getting good education and playing a great level of hockey. And I think you're seeing more and more players, especially now, but, back when I was, in 05 in those areas, I don't think as many players came out of.
I think you were just at the start of it becoming a little bit more normalized. I think that was just about it. Yeah. And now it's commonplace.
Yeah. So anyway, loved that route. Nothing but fond memories. Again, I said about everything right now, but those were big pieces to maturing and growing up and getting into not only life and having a successful hockey career.
You look at how good the BC and Alberta leagues are now, and the players they produce. You opted out of your first NHL draft year, or told teams, don't worry about what was the story there, because you're at Duluth, things are starting to go well. You were drafted, but your first draft year, there's a story there. Tell us.
Yeah. So again, you almost learned as you go. I was a late bloomer. My birthday is September 17th, so I think 15th is the cutoff. So number one, I was drafted with the Crosby year, the 87s, which was the lockout year, but I'm actually an 85 born. Anyway, I didn't have much of an agent at that point either because I was a late bloomer. Anyway, I ended up getting on with CEA Sports, but they kind of advised and said, listen, you might go, you might not. Might be one of those things. Well, I took their lead. I think it worked out for the best. It was just one of those things that just kind of happened. It fell into place. And then that year I got drafted, didn't really have a clue. Well, we thought, you're going to get drafted. You could go 4th round, 5th round. I had some meetings with a whole bunch of teams in Vancouver. And anyway, it was an odd year because there was no draft, right? Because the lockout year. Mm-hmm. So got a phone call. Lo and behold, there it was. And 51st overall to the Canucks.
Yeah. Do you know who was banging the table for Mason Raymond with the Canucks? Do you know which scout or which executive was?
Well, Stan Steamer, is that who you're thinking of?
Well, I heard Nonis, I heard Steamer
Noni,
as well.
Yeah, I mean, Noni
tell me.
Steamer was definitely up there. I mean, there was a whole bunch of guys that are still here, Jonathan Wall, that are still in this organization, but Steamer was definitely a big part of it. I remember seeing him a lot, and again, those relationships and still seeing them with the organization is pretty neat to see.
You 2 years at Minnesota Duluth, you sign, you go to Manitoba, and you score in your pro debut. Take us through those.
Sport's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Right, I'll be up in the NHL in a minute, right?
Yeah. No, I remember that fondly too. It's your first pro goal ever, I guess, and I was green. Again, you're young, you come out of college. I wasn't really knowing of who I was or anything like that, but yeah, that was exciting. And again, I got some family ties to being in Manitoba, so to play in that rink was pretty cool too. And yeah, I think it was the game-winning goal too, actually. So, fond memory. I actually still have that puck. It's at home now. I've got a nice little memorabilia spot set up at this new house that we built, and yeah, it's neat to think back. That was it seems like forever ago, but here I am showing my kids this stuff, and it's special.
Top shelf for your first AHL and NHL goal, I'm sure.
Well,
right? Yeah.
They don't ask how; they ask how many. Yeah.
Who's the coach of that Manitoba? AV was here, right?
Yeah, Vigneault was here. That was Scott Arneal.
That's right.
Yeah.
And who were you playing with? Do you remember? Line mates and stuff? Because Manitoba at the time was starting to produce a lot of players for the Canucks.
I don't remember exactly who's on my line, but who helped assist on my first goal was Jason Jaffrey.
Yeah.
He assisted on my first NHL goal here in Anaheim against Sekeres. So he was there. I remember him. Mike Keane was down there. He's
still playing.
He's a legend, that guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. So, no, again, great group of guys. And again, you go through all these steps, and all these parents are always asking all these questions. But I mean, I look back on my career and all these things that we've led up to, even just to this point, they're so instrumental in how you get to that next level and continue to mature as a player.
It's a journey as a person and as a player too, right? And we talk about this all the time, that and a lot of the time it's in the dark moments of hockey news where we say, I mean, it's not built for everybody. You kind of have to be your own shepherd in a lot of ways. You have to be your own parent in a lot of ways, right? Because your parents are saying goodbye to you, at a pretty young age. So what was that pressure like when you look at the totality of, from midget to the AHL, kind of having to be your own moral compass? You're getting your parents' help from afar and stuff like that. But when you look back on that, are you amazed you made it through as a normal person sort of thing?
At times, for sure. You need to have some luck. There's no question about it. Timing works good with everything. And again, the game has changed so much since from when I went through to how it is now, and how things are, progressing, and how guys take off very little time in the off season, and skating coaches and all that sort of stuff. But no, I look back and you're proud of it, right? I mean, again, it's the stats of how many players make the NHL. It's not easy. So it's something I look back on. I'm proud of. Had a lot of help along the way, support of family and all those sort of things. But again, I draw so many parallels between sports and life, right? And what it teaches you in the game. And
that's why we want people to play them, right? There is that parallel.
So true. So again, it's the amount of people I've met and what I've gone through. Again, I'm very thankful for, and nothing but good memories.
So the Canucks call because you sent somebody to knock out Brenden Morrison so that you could get a roster spot.
That's right. We needed to take down the Iron Man.
This was Nancy Kerrigan here. Right? Is this what happened here? What do you remember of that?
So when I talk about some of the luck, I mean, again, there's injuries all over, and I still talk to BMO frequently. He's in Calgary, and we're skating on the alumni group and have some common interests. But yeah, I remember that vividly. He made the team out of camp, kind of came up, played a little bit, and went back down to the minors. And anyway, when he ended up having that injury, that was a pretty severe injury for him, and it kind of opened the window for me. And it kind of snowballed from there, and the fact that things got better for me, scored, and you kind of established yourself as an NHLer at that point. And yeah, I still joke with him. I every time we go out to eat or have lunch, I'm like, I think I'll buy for you again today. I still owe you for giving me that window of opportunity.
Well, he was on quite an Ironman streak at the time. I can remember calling Steve Tambellini about it. It was a big story. Like, is BMO going to make it this Thursday for the game? And sure enough, he did it, and the streak snapped. But boy, you took the opportunity and ran with it, Mason. It was a terrific rookie year, 21 points in 49 games.
Yeah.
Established yourself. Must have been a blast to, go through that.
Yeah, no, it's, again, things just seem to work. And, for myself, I just was starting to learn more about me as a player and as a person, and believing in myself, and taking some opportunities and trying to run with them. And, again, good support from family, knownness, coaching staff, and, again, getting opportunities to play and producing. And, again, guys like Trevor Linden, Marcus Naslin, Brenden Morrison, Matthias Olin, the list goes on. But those guys were instrumental in my career. Again, I think all these young guys have those types of players, but they were so supportive of me, helped me through things, whatever. And again, I owe a lot to those guys.
You become a regular just as the team is ascending. Take us through those playoff years and bumping up against the Blackhawks wall.
We still reminisce about them when, I'm talking to Alex Burrows, Kevin Bieksa, Luongo, all those guys, we're good friends. I mean, those were the glory years. I think we all look back on, and the Twins played a long time. We talk about those are the glory years of our hockey careers. We were a successful team. We had great cup runs. We had good playoff runs, and we went through a lot. We battled through a lot. I mean, I think for a lot of players and fans, especially when Burr slayed the dragon, right? I mean, that was a big change in this organization. I mean, we always talk, if we didn't win that game, where would this team be today?
Mm-hmm.
Or, not today, but, what would have happened? They probably would have blown the team up to some degree,
yeah,
right?
The legacy changes for a lot of players, eh?
No question.
Mm-hmm.
So, classic Mike Keane quote was, careers are made in playoffs. Like, I always remember him saying that. And, again, I still talk to those guys, but again, those days were so fun. We were a great team. We had a great group of guys. Everybody got along so well, and we pushed each other. We were that close, yet so close, but so far, obviously, in 2011 with the Cup run. But again, what we went through is something I'll never forget.
As frustrating as the initial Blackhawks series were, that made the 2011 win that much sweeter, I'm sure, right? That feeling of relief of we got one over on these guys finally.
Yeah, I mean, again, that was the first round, I believe, right? I mean, we
you won the cup in the first round.
We celebrated like that was, right? I mean, that was a huge achievement for us. I think, again, were we up 3-1 or 3-0?
3-1, yeah.
3-0.
3-0,
to come back to 3-3 to, again, it's a memorable moment. I think many Canucks fans things as players for us too. So special times. Again, we literally call them the glory days.
The run continues, of course, and just a really good Nashville series. Had a lot of everything in it. Kessler goes crazy, of course. San Jose, a more succinct series, I think, than a lot of people expected. And if you listen to Dan Boyle, the better team lost, of course, at the end of that game. But you guys get into the Stanley Cup Final, and because it's an Eastern Conference team, the nature of the beast in the playoffs, you don't really know much about the opponent. You face them once or twice, depending on how the schedule was during those years. Do you have any idea what you're up against when you start game one of the Stanley Cup Final? Do you have a sense of things other than it's going to be hard, but do you really know the personality of the series? Did you forecast that?
No, I mean, I remember because we won in 5 games with BX's overtime goal. We were waiting to see who was going to win, Boston or Tampa. And I remember as players, again, it's not like it's in your control, but we kind of thought we didn't care who we played.
Mm-hmm.
It's just whoever kind of came at us. We felt like we were ready and wanted to go. And I think they went to 7 games, actually. And I think
did.
anyway, Boston obviously came out. And No, I mean, we were confident. Again, everything about our team, we believed in ourselves so much. And again, we all know the outcome. It didn't go how I was planned, but we started out 2-0. Things were good. We were up 3-2. Obviously there was a lot of events in between there that happened, but no, it's one of those ones that I think we still feel like there's unfinished. Like Dan Boyle, we feel like the better team didn't win, right? But again, fond memories.
The extenuating circumstance. Michael Samuelson never played, during that series. Your injury, Ham Hughes' injury, Aaron Rome's suspension.
Kessler's playing on one hip.
I mean, at least he's playing though. I mean, guys had either like actual concrete storylines.
Yep.
I mean, it was kind of crazy to think. I'm imagining myself in your shoes, and be tough not to have regret, because you just think if only half of those things happened, that would be a busy series. But all of those things happened. You'd love to see with the universe in which, again, even just half of them happen.
For sure. Again, the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I mean, reality is, we obviously got beat, but you always look back, you think of whoever. I mean, who did Tampa pay two years ago? Well, Tampa won the Cup. Halftime, you barely remember who they even played,
That's
right?
true, yeah.
So, again, going through all those and the good Cup runs, the good Cup run we had in the playoff series against Chicago and all those, I mean, you realize how hard it is to get to the playoffs alone, let alone the playoffs, right? But to move on, to get up, to play in those games. But playoffs are another beast, and boy, is that the best time of year.
Do you
to play.
subscribe to the better to have loved and lost than to have never loved before? Like, are you happy you got there nevertheless?
Yeah, again, it's if you ever get the privilege to wear that ring, which I don't know what that feels like, but I mean, again, that's it's something special. And I mean, again, seeing with these guys in Calgary, I mean, they're the Flames guys, the '89 Cup run. I mean, we go to events, and that's still what people want to see, their Cup ring, right? It's amazing just what that can do for you as a person and everything. But anyway, again, I truly mean sincere, memories from that time. And again, the group of friends, the people we met. And again, I've said it once, I'll say it again. I mean, those were the glory days.
I hate to bring it up, but Game 6 in Boston, and you're going in the corner with Johnny Boychuk, and you emerge with fractured vertebrae and a terrifying scene that we all wondered, is he going to be okay? What do you remember of it?
Yeah, that one replays a lot in my mind still to this day. But that was Game 6. We're up 3-2. We're hoping to come out of there. We flew the families in. We flew everyone. We're hoping to leave there with a cup above our heads. And I think it was 20 seconds in first shift. I remember that puck going in the corner, going for that, and just the awkwardest position. Kind of my butt went in the boards. Head kind of went down between my legs, and I just remember the instant pain. The instant pain, laying on that ice, and instant pain. And, oddly enough, again, I talk about our families came in. My wife, my parents, and everybody, they were about 6 rows up.
In that corner?
In that corner.
Oh. Get out.
So that's where all our family was. And, as a kid, I was always taught by my dad, I mean, unless you're severely injured, you get off the ice. Like, you get off the ice. I just, he always joked, don't ice fish. You're not looking at the ice, ice fishing. And, I replay that whole thing, and I've come through all that and whatever, but, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have got up. What I know now, anyway, got up, got off the ice, and went through that scenario. I mean, I remember laying in that dressing room, being in so much pain, and hearing that stupid buzzer of the Bostons go off 4 times, which they were up 4-0 at that point. I mean, number one, I knew I was severely injured. Not to what extent.
Yeah.
I knew that game was in jeopardy to some degree when you're down 4-0 after the first period, and then I was in an ambulance and off to the hospital. But there was a lot of I didn't know what the extent of the injury was. I was in the most pain I've ever been in. Once you get to the hospital and X-rays and everything, they're starting to tell you, you have broken vertebrae and some damage to your ligaments. I mean, you start to question your hockey career and where you're at. It just. What a chain of events changing, and the fact, you're hoping to hoist a cup to, holy my God, is my career going to go on?
Remind me, where were you for Game 7? Were you able to be in the rink for Game 7?
Yeah, so I spent a couple days in Boston there, and then I ended up flying back, which was the longest flight ever. And anyway, I was in like a full brace, right, from my back, but I made it there about 20 minutes before game time.
Wow!
Again, and still so much hope and belief that we'd be hosting a cup and you name it, but. No, it was interesting. I mean, those days, again, I felt like I was relearning how to walk. I really couldn't walk. I mean, it would take me a long time to walk 20 yards, right? And again, until I went through this, and again, we talked earlier here and about meeting up with Bernard Honorbash and meeting good people and going through with the training staff and figuring out, that this is going to recover and not needing surgery. All those different steps, got me through it. And yeah, I mean, it was a process. I think it was 7 months later, I finally kind of hopped the boards or whatever it was, which was a really quick recovery. Again, I credit a lot to the people I dealt with, but it's that mental side of it that I wish, you'll learn so much, but there's always that piece in the back of your head thinking, before that you were a rubber band. You just always, popped up from anything. But again, I've gone through that injury. I do think I'm a better person from it today and what I've learned and the people I met, but obviously a significant part or a hurdle in my career.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they put you on the Jumbotron in Game 7, right?
Yeah, they did.
They sort of waved to the fans and let everybody know you were okay.
Yeah. It was a weird one for me, too. I mean, even to get to that, I remember I had to walk around the back in the rink there. I mean, that took me a long time to get there. I mean, there was a lot of pain. I was on meds, just trying to get there. But I remember that boost. I mean, the hair on my neck even stands up right now thinking about that. And the ovation I had from the fans was incredible. Again, instill in hopes of winning that cup that night, literally. I always dreamt about skating around with it. But at that point, I remember thinking, I don't care if I have to just touch it, whatever. You wanted to win it. But yeah, it was a special moment, and it was a great ovation from the fans.
Well,
sure.
I mean, this is it's the culture of hockey. We're not going to give up too much in terms of injuries, particularly in the Stanley Cup Final. But in this case, there was real concern about you, right? So I remember that moment being sort of a relief that okay, he's here and we're seeing him all, and he seems okay. Where did you watch Game 7? I
stayed underneath just because I couldn't move very far.
That's in the room?
I stayed in the room, yeah, when I say underneath, sorry. But
did you watch them with anyone? Or
yeah, just the rest of the Black Aces and whoever were there, and didn't watch much of the third because we were kind of in a bit of trouble by that point, and things weren't looking good. But I think for some of the guys I know, like, they didn't even know what the extent of my injury was, right? I mean, again, you're focusing on the game, getting ready for Game 7, hopefully to win that cup. And I think Jeff Tambellini went in for me. I remember he kind of came back into the room, like back into the locker room kind of thing, and just, what do you say to a guy? I mean, at that point, right? I mean, go have fun, go do whatever you can. But Jeff was an awesome guy. And again, of course, I wanted to be out there and couldn't be there with the guys. But yeah, it's funny to go back and live that, and lived it and done some interviews like this. And it's so real for me. It seemed, obviously it was over 10 years ago, but God, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago when you live it again.
546 NHL games, and 542 of them were with Canadian franchises. You got a chance to play for your hometown Flames, and you got a chance to play
in the center of the universe,
in
too.
Toronto. Right there in the core.
With a pretty good year, too. 19-goal season.
In Toronto. Tell us about your experiences in the other Canadian markets.
Yeah, it's you come from an organization like this, and the teams we went through and the following I think we had from fans and everything was amazing. So to go from here to Toronto, again, it really is. It's a whole nother level as far as media and expectations and original six team and the history and everything.
Can you keep telling people that here, that it's another level in Toronto? We're not so big and bad here in Vancouver, honestly.
Well, and to carry on from there, and then I went to Calgary. I mean, Calgary seems small town, compared to, I think, the media side, and everything's bigger here. But, it's funny. People always ask me that, right? I always played Canadian markets, and for me, I didn't really know any other way. They always ask me, like, what was travel like in the Eastern Conference? Well, I played here for 6 years to start my career. It seemed normal. So, yeah, I mean, this is a smaller market media-wise and everything. I think especially more now than what it was in those days that we were on our cup run. But, no, fortunately, I loved playing in front of fans and being there. I mean, you go to Florida, you go to Carolina, all of a sudden you come after practice, you got two writers in there or something, right? You're kind of like, is something wrong or what's going on, right? So again, I enjoyed this market. The pressure was there. I mean, of course, when things aren't going good, it wasn't. Or if you won a game 1-0, it was kind of, why didn't you win it 3-0? Well, we still won, right? But again, being part of that, being in the thing, in the limelight was something you just learned to love. And, I'm proud to play most of my whole entire career, of course, in Canada.
Affable guy. I think most people thought your brand was nice guy playing with the Canucks. I'm sure you were recognized a lot in this market and elsewhere. Tell us about, being a local celebrity and engaging with the fans as you went about daily life.
My wife still bugs me. I get recognized here in Vancouver more than anywhere else that I've played, and I live in Calgary now. So, again, passionate fan base here. There's no question about it, right? And, it is. It's something where we come back here and, we're flying around with masks and everything now with this COVID and stuff. But, I still get recognized with a mask on, which just blows my mind at times.
Well, right? You look the same. That probably is a big reason.
I don't know. But anyway, no, it's It's cool. Again, doing charity events like when we played or doing them now, I mean, it's an absolute honor, and somehow we get put on a pedestal to go say hi to a kid or to somebody. And, all I did was put a puck in the net, or not as many times as I wanted, but that was that was the intent anyway. But, we say hi to a kid, give him a signature, give him a knuckles, whatever. And they think, we're God. But reality is we're no different than anybody else. It's cool to have that stature, I guess, to some degree. And I like when I see players that are always out there doing what they can to give back. I mean, I always say I was a kid. I remember meeting Lanny McDonald when I was a kid. Trevor Linden always told me, one day somebody's not going to want your signature. Alex Burrows, we were roommates for 4 years, and probably the guy I could talk to the most. And, he taught me to try to, again, do everything you can because give back. Because the game is short. And as quick as that went, I played 10 years. My God, it went quick, and here I am on the other side. So I took all those years, and here I am now trying to give back with coaching my son's kid and doing these charity events when you can and everything along those lines.
You finish up at the Olympics, and you say put on the pedestal. You got put on a podium. What was that experience like? We got a kick out of seeing your name come up on that roster. We're like, hey, Mason Raymond's going to be on the team. Does that feel like just like the cherry on top of a career? You probably didn't see it coming, and then all of a sudden it's there.
I'll start out by saying, played on the outdoor rink like we talked at Dad's. What'd you dream of? Game 7, Stanley Cup Final. So that was always what happened, right? When you were playing out there. I never dreamt of being an Olympian. I never knew what it was like to be an Olympian. And I didn't really realize that until I was literally in Pyeongchang being an Olympian. Coming towards the end of my career there in Anaheim, I just knew things weren't great here. I probably could have maybe slugged it out a little bit up and down in the minors, but, had the opportunity to go over to Switzerland, and that tied in with some of the health stuff I was doing with my wife. But anyway, didn't know if it'd be reality. Hey, the NHL is still going to go. Wasn't. We did these camps. Anyway, it really was one of the pinnacles of my career, being able to do that. Of course, we didn't get gold. We did get bronze. We did get on the podium. But to know what it's like to be an Olympian, I had no idea. I just had no idea. I never dreamt about it, as I said, didn't know those things. And something special. Again, that was a very unique year in the fact I think we went to like 6-7 different countries and tournaments and Spangler Cup. Again, most years you get, right? You go to what do they go to a camp in January or something?
Pretty much
or December. I don't even know when it is, right? You get listed to the team, you show up, and away they go. So we had a close bond there, and a lot of guys like Rene Bork and just former players. And yeah, it was a blast. Again, we know we weren't the best players in the world for Canada at that there, but we knew we were the best players in the world that were eligible to go at that point. And again, a super pinnacle career. Again, those tournaments and the way those are set up are interesting. We lost against Germany there, not to get into the finals, but they always said too, it's always nice to head out on a win, and you head out on a win with bronze versus losing and getting silver.
Well, and honestly, you proved a lot of doubters wrong, because I don't know how many people would have put you on the podium at the outset of the tournament, but you guys were a plucky group. It was a charge at the Olympics,
and coached by Willie.
That's right,
Willie D,
yes,
Canucks coach.
Mm-hmm.
No. You mentioned to us before we sat down and started recording, you're retired from hockey, but you've never been busier, right? Like, there is a distinction here at 36 years old. So catch us up on everything. You've alluded to some of it. Catch us up on everything.
Yeah. No, like you said, it just, everybody says, how's retired life? Well, I'm retired from the game of hockey, but, life is busy, and life is on the go, which I enjoy. And, for myself, I went back to my roots. I grew up on a big farm, and went back to the agriculture business, running a lot of cattle, farming a lot of acres. I'm also in the auto industry with my wife's family, and a few other little entity companies that I've started out. So I've always enjoyed the business world, doing a lot with that, and coaching my son's team, being a father, being a husband. So life's good, trying to get some travel in, enjoying everything that I can. And as I said, I enjoy the business world. I alluded to it earlier, the amount of parallels between hockey and work or life or whatever is just phenomenal. So I'm enjoying that side of it, working with a team of employees. It's been fun.
I'm imagining 9-year-olds don't much care that you played in the NHL. They don't remember you, right? So what about the parents? What's it like coaching 9-year-olds and then dealing with parents that remember you playing in the National Hockey League?
The parents definitely remember me more, which is good. So they're not not on me too much. But
what are you talking about, Mason? Why are you telling my son to do that?
Yeah, right. So no, it's been good. I enjoy teaching that group, and again, like I do a couple mornings where I'm doing some skating stuff with kids. Well, when I was learning to skate, it was just you had it or you didn't. that was basically it. And now it's so technical, right? And the different edges and how everything goes. But again, you can see how the game's going and the way McDavid and McKinnon, all these guys skate and they're skating instructors. So no, it's fun. I really enjoy coaching that age group. I guess my son's out there, so you enjoy being there even more because you're there with your son. But it's fun. It's fun to give back now and do these sort of things. And again, the game was so good to me. It's gotten me to where I am today. So I'm very proud and love giving back that way.
Does your son have your stride?
Yeah.
Did you gift him the stride?
I hope so. I don't know. It's too early to tell. Maybe he's a late bloomer like me.
No, at 9, it's hard to tell. You're right.
Yeah, but you know how the parents are. Every parent thinks their kid's going to be signing a contract the next day with the Canucks or the Flames or something, so you're trying to calm them down. It's a process.
Well, it's great to see you again. Anytime you're in Vancouver, stop on by and see us. Fantastic catch-up. Thanks, Mason.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, terrific conversation with Mason Raymond. I love how he put it. Retired. I've never been busier. I'm retired from the game of hockey. And, a lot of athletes have difficulty adjusting to life without the game. It's terrific to see that he's doing so well, sounding so well.
Yeah, and he had a lengthy career, 10 years, as he said. But it shows you you got to find something else to do with your life. He's still so young. He's been out of the game for a few years. He's just 36 years old. Your life is ahead of you. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not putting your feet up and doing nothing from here on in. So, yeah, good on him. And, taking a little page from one of his mentors, and Trevor Linden, I think, who jumped into the business world. And, Trevor put, his interests across a variety of businesses. And it sounds like Mason Raymond's doing the same and having some fun doing it.
I had never heard that his family was just 6 rows up watching that scene in Boston in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, I think we were told that. It rings the smallest of bells, but it was shocking to hear that, though. And you can just imagine what that would have been like for them to see it go down. I mean, I see hockey parents in minor hockey, their kid goes careening into the boards. It's all you can do to stop mums from running down. And I'm sure that was still the case in the Stanley Cup Final, that friends and family just want to go down there and make sure their kid's okay.
Also a really good lesson here, speaking of hockey parents, young hockey players. I mean, 546 NHL games, but after midget and even into junior A, he's not really thinking pro hockey as a career path. He's leaving his options open.
Again, we're not talking about an unrefined sport in the 60s and 70s. This is 2005. Like, this is not that long ago. Where, Chris Tanev was another great example of this. You remember playing? He was playing house at the age of 14 or something like that. Chris Tanev. Folks, just relax. If your kid's good enough, he'll find their way. And for Mason Raymond, he found his way.
Yeah, winds up appearing in a Young Stars game at the All-Star break. He's an unsung hero for the Vancouver Canucks, and of course, a key part of some of their best teams going up and down that wing with blazing speed.
Unbelievable skater. One thing we didn't talk to him. Remember late in his career, Raymond Down. He was always he was always giving it his all, and he talked about one of the last things that came to him was strength in terms of the late blooming. And being able to stay on his skates, and ultimately late in his career, of course, he had trouble staying on his skates, that Raymond Down phenomena.
And, of course, to complete the Mason Raymond story, the guy's down 8 to 10 pounds since his playing days, because that's just the way he's constituted.
He looks 28 years old. Honest to goodness.
Folks, he looked like he could play tomorrow. He has not changed. Outside of one tooth, he joked with us that he's got one tooth that's still missing because he, like a lot of hockey players, is going through the long procedures of fixing all the dentistry at the end of his career. But he looked exactly the same as the day that he walked out of Rogers Arena, or the day he finished his career.
The only difference, I would say, a little less guarded now with the career over, and just a delight to talk with. So, so much fun.
Happy to reminisce with us about his time as a Canuck.